ImCaliKidOfficial.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the CaliKidOfficial Podcast. This is episode number 18, I do believe. So let's get right into it. So this past week we had the Nelly versus Ludcacris Verzuz battle. Pretty exciting, if I say so. There are some hiccups in terms of Nelly. You know, his Wi-Fi kept messing up because of it, storming out in Missouri. But Swiss Beats posted, the numbers in terms of the interest that it garnered. So in terms of the battle, we had over 200,000 posts. We had over 85,000 users engaged. Or should I say over 85,000 users were, there. Engagement, 3 million plus, reach, 470 million people, and over 1 billion impressions, which impressions means that how many times a person saw a particular, image or graphic or whatever. So it did some pretty good numbers. I know they're talking about doing some more verses. The next one is supposed to be Jagged versus 112. Or should I say the upcoming one is Beenie Man versus Bounty Killer, which is supposed to be, Saturday, which is today. And then after that it's supposed to be Jagged Edge and 112 on the 25th, I do believe. But I'll get more into that later in the podcast. So unfortunately, this week we got some more sad news. So if you guys don't know, former WWE wrestler Shad Gaspard passed away. He was at Venice Beach with his wife and son. They were, swimming. And then at some point during the day, like the tide started, to become different. And they got caught in what is known as, I guess, a riptide. And basically it carried both of them out into sea. And rather than having the lifeguard save himself, he told them to go after his son, which they saved his son. And then when they tried to go back to rescue Shad, another wave came and crashed over him. And so they sent in the search party and all of that. But, once they cancel that, it's pretty much doomed from there. And it was reported, on, I believe it was, the 20th. They reported on the 20th that his body washed ashore. Someone found him, I believe, like at 1:30 in the morning or something like that, which is crazy. Let me see. Yeah, I think it was like around 1:30 or something in the morning. But it's crazy. It's like 1 minute someone's here, and then the next minute they could be gone just like that. And it's like they wasn't wearing life jackets either. I mean, it's a very unfortunate situation. So just want to offer my condolences to his family. That's devastating. You go somewhere to have fun, and then a tragedy like this happened. But we're gonna move on into into a little bit something else. So apparently Billboard has been caught manipulating the charts. So 6ix9ine brought to everyone's attention, of course he's in the news again, that Billboard was manipulating the charts because he was saying that they wasn't counting all his streams, which Billboard is a domestic chart. So they put out a response along with Ariana and Justin, because he accused of them of manipulating their spot as well, because apparently at the last minute 60,000 units were counted, and then it was reported that half of those units were paid with 6 different credit cards. And then Ariana and Justin came out talking about you can only buy 4 projects or whatever per card or whatever. So they pretty much issued that statement. Then we had Scooter Braun come out and all that stuff. But it's not as though Justin hasn't been caught before trying to do some shenanigans. Because if you remember when Roddy Ricch song The Box came out, he was telling his fans, sleep with the streaming on and how to manipulate the system by doing stream farming. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that some similar shenanigans played into this. And then when you look deeper into it, um, they reduced the price of their song, and not only that, Billboard and Amazon partnered together and offered to match a donation depending on how many times the song was downloaded. So it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. But this is the video from 6ix9ine. All right. But yeah, he's pretty much talking about how Billboard, manipulated the charts, and then, Ariana and them came out. So Ariana, she posted, let's see, what did she write? I would like to address a few things which I usually do, which I usually don't, which I don't usually do. I don't give my energy to drama or strange accusations normally, but this has gone a little too far. My fans bought the song, Justin fans bought the song, our fans bought this song, never more than 4 copies each. As the rules state, they are ride or die. Yeah, they ride or die, alright, but Justin was crying about people not buying enough of his song so it can go over the box. But and then she said, what did she say? There was one part here where she was like, "Oh, I asked you to take a moment to humble yourself." I think that right there is kind of a bit disrespectful. And then that's when 6ix9ine put out this video about his upbringing and stuff, comparing it to hers, which she started on a Disney show. Her family like comes from money, I guess apparently. So, but people not going to really care because of 6ix9ine's past transgressions or whatever. But it's clearly some manipulation going on, especially when you have two of the biggest entities partnering together, um, in conjunction with Justin and Ariana to push the song. Yeah, the song was for charity or whatever, but you know, y'all still had a hand in helping it blow up. Cause see right here it says, "Get a Sign Stuck With You CD from Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber, but hurry up." And then right here it says, "Ariana and Justin just can't stop giving back. The dynamic pop duo announced on Wednesday night that they are doubling down on their COVID-19 relief single Stuck With You. You asked, and all for a great cause." Amazon joined in the action as well, pledging to donate $5 for every download of the song on Amazon Music through 9 p.m. on Thursday. So yeah, y'all join forces together to basically stop her from getting that number one. But whatever. I think that's why he pushed back his next song too, which I'll get into that a little bit later. So, but it's clear as day that some manipulation was going on. Especially if you had nothing, if you didn't do anything, why would you have to put out this whole long soliloquy about you not doing anything? So clearly there was something fishy going on with all of that, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. So, but moving on from that, apparently the actress that played the role of Batwoman is exiting the show. So apparently the cast and crew wasn't really getting along, and then from what I read, Ruby suffered some type of injury on set, but she said that had nothing to do with her leaving. And then there's rumors that it wasn't all her choice. So, but the show in itself was boring. And then, you know, a lot of these new shows is trying to force things onto people, and people wasn't rocking with it. But we're gonna get into more about the show. So it says the CW have stayed months seemingly framing her exit as her choice, but now TV Line reports that an unnamed source close to the show says the departure was not only on her end. It wasn't 100% her decision. They say it was a breakup. She wasn't happy working on the show, and did that make her fun to work with? No. So everyone decided it would be in the best interest of the show, and for all concerned, they parted ways. It wasn't a good fit. Blah blah blah. But the interesting thing about it is the show got renewed for a second season. But if you read the reviews on it from the audience, is not very good. So like if you go over to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics give it a 79%, which is, you know, that can be bought or whatever, or they usually do that to prop the show up as being better than it actually is. But if you look at the audience score, it's 13%, and it's almost 8,000 people weighing in on that. So it's crazy. But from the get-go, the show was kind of to me. So there's that. But ain't no telling what they gonna do. They are thinking about recasting her, but it's like, how is that gonna even work? You gonna write her off like they did Batman, where he secretly, you know, leaves Gotham? That's probably what they're gonna have to do with her. And you had several people trying to throw their name in to replace her, but it is what it is. We also get an update for the third season of The Chi. So they just released a trailer. It's going to be coming out June 21st. In the trailer, we see someone getting married, and then we also see Emmett's character with Keisha, and he's basically talking to her about her reservations on leaving the city, because apparently she might have like a better opportunity or something. So it seems as though they're back on good terms, and they're probably co-parenting their son together. And then another scene is like women being kidnapped. That's a heavy theme, seems like, and that's going to be taking place in this season. Then we also get a new leader of Reggie's gang, because if you know, in the last season, Reggie got killed and then he left the show because apparently they tried to get him to do some gay scene, and he wasn't down with doing that, so he left the show. Then we see Ronnie getting baptized, which Ronnie was the guy that killed what's his name, that kills Brandon's younger brother in the very first episode of the show or whatever. And then we see the showrunner of the show, Lena Rafe. She's going to be playing a character that's apparently running for mayor, and her character's name is Camille Hathaway. And then Otis, I guess, apparently escapes from being put in prison because we see him running for mayor as well. And then the person that's going to be playing his estranged wife is Candy Burris. So that's going to be crazy, but I don't know. I don't know about the ratings for this season because a lot of the characters that people were tuning in for is no longer on the show for various different reasons. So that's that. Moving on from that, we also got some new music. So Russ released a deluxe component to his album Shake the Snow Globe. 6 new records. The records are 3 a.m., You Could Have Left Me Alone, No Tears Left, Sky in 2006. So one of the songs, 3 a.m., that was the song we saw him post on Instagram where he was in the studio with Ty Dolla $ign. It was probably one of the better songs on there that I liked. And then another song, You Could Have Left Me Alone. If you guys have been following him, he basically sampled a Fall Out Boy song called Sugar, and he basically apparently put the finishing touches on it and put it on his deluxe, which was cool. So it was the one where it was like, I'm going down, down in the very first round. So that one was dope. So those are probably my 2 favorite off of the deluxe. I actually reviewed the regular version of the Shake the Snow Globe album. You can check that out under the music review playlist on my YouTube channel. So there's that. We also got a mixtape from Young M.A called Red Flu, 7 records. It was okay. I think probably 2 records on there was pretty cool, which was the 2020 Vision, and she did this flip of Joel Santana's. I think it was like a remix of that Santana's Town. Yeah, called Drip Set. Yeah, so those tours was pretty cool, but it was whatever. Her album, that was her I would say her last most concise project, which if you guys haven't checked that out, I think it's called Her Story. But this was kind of like a step down to me from that. I think she just put this out for her fans that had something to listen to, but it was whatever. And then Gunna, he released his album Wunna. It had 18 records. If you look at the cover, it's a lot of things going on there, which I'm gonna get into. So hold on. So if you look at it, he got, the famous Vitruvian Man pose, which is a drawing created, I believe, by Leonardo da Vinci, which basically is like a blueprint for the buildup of a man or whatever. But he also got some astrology things playing into here, but it's also some subliminal messaging in here. If you look at the purple part of his upper torso, and then the arms outstretched, and then you look at the red parts like that make up where his armpits are, those are like red eyes. And if you look at that, you pretty much know what that is, but it's like, why do people keep playing around with that? To me, it looks like, Baphomet. That's what that looked like to me. The project was pretty mediocre to me. It was underwhelming, but his fans is gonna like it, but it wasn't. I'll probably just say it wasn't for me, because a lot of new music come out. A lot of these artists, they keep putting out the same thing over and over. It's like, at least show something different, not like the same thing over and over again. But I just want to show you guys what I'm talking about, but because I know I'm not tripping, but that's what that look like. They got that same what's the name? But that's been going on in the music industry with the subliminal messaging and the album covers and in the music and stuff. And then a lot of these artists is talking about demons and this, that, and the third. So it's like, yeah. But I'm gonna get off that for right now. 6ix9ine is supposed to be dropping another song. He pushed it back to next Friday, which is the 29th, and apparently, well, it's rumored that the song is going to be called Taco, and people are speculating that the song is going to be with Nicki Minaj because she put out a taco emoji. But to sometime today, 6ix9ine posted on Instagram that whichever comment gets the most likes will be the name of his next song. So, but I ain't seen some of those comments. One of them was like snitch. One of them was like Big Mac. So ain't no telling if we gonna follow through with that, because he also been trolling Rich the Kid some more, talking about if y'all get him to like 5 million followers on Instagram, he'd cut his hair off. But I think most of that is just him being a troll, if you ask me. Right now, though, we about to get into some important news in regarding to podcasting. So Joe Rogan is the latest person to partner up with Spotify. They gave him a deal, a multi-year deal. Apparently it's supposed to be worth about $100 million or more dollars. The move begins September 1st, and apparently he's going to be transferring all of his content over there, including the video portions, to Spotify. And what this means is that when people who are in the podcast world, like myself, and others that are much bigger, when they go into renegotiating whatever deals they have, this is like a benchmark for them. So, and then Spotify, they've been cornering the market as well, because they bought Anchor, which is another podcasting platform, and Gimlet as well. So, and then according to Valuetainment, after this deal with Joe Rogan, apparently it increased their value by $5 billion. But once everything shakes out, we'll get a better reading on what that number actually is. But that's good for him. I know some people probably wasn't feeling it because they only go on YouTube to watch him. They probably don't want to go to a whole nother platform. But I'm going to still be tuning in from time to time. When there's people on there that I have an interest in, I tend to tune into the Joe Rogan podcast. So, that's pretty good news, for him, which is good news for the entire industry as well. Moving on from that, so apparently the Cowboys and Dak Prescott are still at a standstill in terms of renegotiating his contract, and what he's asking for sounds crazy. So the Cowboys offered him a 5-year, $175 million deal, which he turned down. Basically, he wants the last year of that deal to be $45 million, which would make it a 5-year, $185 million deal. All right, I also saw Skip and Shannon discuss this, and Shannon was basically saying that Dak was accounting for inflation and the rise of the NFL cap during that course of time in terms of the length of the contract. I understand that, but you also got to look at what has Dak done. He hasn't really done much of anything. I mean, his record in the playoffs isn't very good. I mean, they just went 8-8 last season. So you asking for this buku amount of money, which would make you the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, and you wasn't even on the top 100 players of the NFL as voted on by the NFL players, and you asking for this type of money. If I was the Cowboys management, I understand finding quarterbacks is hard, but if you do this deal, you're going to handicap your franchise. And it's like, wow, the Cowboys is like, things get worse and worse and worse for them. So ain't no telling, At some point, the Cowboys are going to have to choose whether they're going to bite this bullet or try to move on elsewhere. Because, you know, Cam Newton is still out there. At least Cam Newton's been to a Super Bowl. For all the critiques about him, at least he's been to the Super Bowl. At least he's won multiple playoff games. So there's that. But oh no, man, this mess is crazy. And then on the other side of the world, China is trying to do some sneaky business with trying to pass security laws, all in the name of national security. So if you guys don't know, sometime last year, Hong Kong had like this protest, and after this protest happened, this gave China basically probable cause or reason for them to try to pass these national laws, which will effectively strip Hong Kong of its autonomy. And the agreement between China and Hong Kong is that China is the mainland, but Hong Kong will have its own government. But if they're able to get these laws passed through, that would pretty much strip them of that. So this article right here basically talks about it. Beijing has been making it clear it wants new security legislation passed since huge pro-democracy protests last year plunged Hong Kong into its deepest turmoil since it returned to Chinese rule in '97. Yeah, because the protesters, they was fighting against the police as well. National security is the bedrock underpinning the stability of the country. Condemnation of the proposal was swift amid fears it could erase the one country, two system framework that is supposed to grant the territory a high degree of autonomy. Exactly. Article 23 of Hong Kong's mini constitution, a basic law, says the city must enact national security laws to prohibit treason, secession, sedition, and subversion against the Chinese government. But the clause has never been implemented due to deeply held public fears it would curtail Hong Kong's cherished rights, such as freedom of expression. An attempt to enact Article 23 in 2003 was shelved after 500,000 people took to the streets in protest. Yeah, when someone's threatening your rights, it's going to lead to that. By passing a law in the NPC, Chinese authorities will effectively bypass local opposition. Zhang said details of the proposal will be announced at NPC proceedings on Friday. The resolution is likely to be passed by China's parliament next week. The U.S. president, who has ratcheted up his anti-China rhetoric, told reporters that nobody knows yet the details of China's plan. If it happens, we'll address that issue very strongly. So the U.S. is going to intervene. All this is doing is setting up for what might be a war, another war. That's what this looks like. Because Hong Kong represents democracy. The U.S. is a democracy. And, you know, China, I believe, is a communistic country, I do believe. U.S. State Department spokesman Morgan Ortagus warned that imposing such a law would be highly destabilizing and will be met with strong condemnation from the United States and the international community. China's announcement came as anti-government protests that have overwhelmed Hong Kong since last June approached their one-year anniversary. Yeah, they basically use those protests as a means for them to try to subvert the law and go between by passing it through their branch of government rather than it being something voted on by both sides. So they're basically trying to subvert the situation to obtain control. Yeah, they're trying to quell the demonstrations. Well, if y'all wasn't doing mess up stuff, people wouldn't be having to come out and protest and stuff. Critics say the measure undermines Hong Kong's legal framework established under the terms of the former British colony's handover to Chinese control in '97. Chris Patten, the last British governor of Hong Kong, described it as a comprehensive assault on the city's autonomy. Under its basic law, Hong Kong is meant to enact security legislation on its own. This spells the beginning of the end of Hong Kong under one country, two systems, said Kenneth John. It would mean also communist-style political struggles have trumped the rule of law and a dagger that has stabbed in the heart. Yeah, so pretty much they like, y'all not gonna have any rights at all. Y'all gonna either get down or lay down with China and its government, because y'all saw some of those protests and it was beating up the police officers and all of that, but they wouldn't be protesting if y'all wasn't treating them wrong. So if y'all stop treating them wrong, there wouldn't be no protests. But that's crazy, you know. People always try to find a workaround things and subverting stuff. So there's that. Okay, so we also got you know, as I said earlier in the podcast, we got the versus battles jumping off. We got Beenie Man versus Bounty Killa, which is going to be later today. Two dance halls legends. I'm not really familiar with their music, so I'm not going to really give like a breakdown of who might win or whatever, because I'm not familiar with their catalog. So I might just tune in to see what's what. And then on the 25th, as I said, Jagged Edge and 112 is supposed to be going against each other. So we got that. But apparently some members of 112 aren't going to participate. So it says 112 member Darren Jones wrote an open letter saying he and Q Parker won't be participating in the upcoming Jagged Edge versus due to an in-group leak. Basically some money. He won't be participating because there's money issues. So we're not going to get all of 112. You're only going to get portions of 112. 112, you know, they got Peaches and Cream, Jagged Edge, you know, Let's Get Married, Where the Party At. You know, those records. Big highlights of the 2000s. So yeah, it's supposed to be happening on the 25th, which I believe is Memorial Day. So so it's only going to be 2 out of the 4 group members making an appearance. That's crazy. He added that it's a fabricated lie that he and Q quit the group. In due time, you'll receive the true narrative. Until then, we will have... Yep, some money issues. That's always tends to be the thing that makes groups split up or whatever. Some money issues. But though both of those should be interesting. As I said, I'm not familiar with Beenie Man and Bounty Killer's discography. I'm pretty sure I've heard some songs and not knew that those people actually sung them or whatever, but we're just gonna have to see what happens with that. Hopefully, you know, the Wi-Fi is good for both sides, because it's been twice that like the internet connection or some type of technical issue didn't happen. We had that with the Babyface and Teddy Riley, then we had it with Nelly and with Ludacris. Speaking of Ludacris, they was tripping over his song, which he addressed. I mean, people find a way to get mad over everything, which don't make no sense. And then also this weekend, we're going to be getting The Match, which is a charity golf event with Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning facing off against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. It's supposed to be on the 24th, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Should be interesting. If you're not into golf, you probably won't watch it. I remember the way I got into golf is I bought one of the Tiger Woods PGA Tour games, and that basically got me into the understanding of how golf works. So, but it should be interesting because, you know, Brady and Manning got that rivalry, and then Tiger and Phil got that rivalry. So that's probably why they put the two together to, you know, build it up. And then, you know, Phil, I believe, won that last Masters with Tiger closely behind. So this is kind of like supposed to be like a rematch type of deal. So that should be kind of interesting. And then we got this parody video that popped up on the internet. So if you're not familiar, it is how the best way I can describe it is, if you guys remember when they made that Randy Orton thing where he was going around fake RKOing people, it's kind of like the same thing, but with Conor. But here it is right here. So he's like swimming in the lake with alligators, like he's an alligator. Then he pops out, and he's right now it's like showing him chasing down somebody and knocking someone down. They stupid. They like punching them. It's fake though, so those that's watching, or should I say those that's listening on Spotify, if you want to see what I'm talking about, just watch the YouTube version. They stupid though. But yeah, Dana White posted it. He said, I don't know who made this bit, but this shit is funny. Which it is. It's about 39 seconds. So, but yeah, Conor, he been trying to get back into the ring. He and Justin Gaethje been getting into it um, on social media or whatever. But there's that. And then apparently Doja Cat, it ain't found herself into some trouble. So some videos in surface of, you know, how celebrities do. They have things that they said are posted in the past. So apparently some bigoted tweets and her in chat rooms with racist people then popped up and all types of stuff. So we're gonna delve into that a bit. It says apparently Doja Cat likes to frequent tiny chat groups in her free time. According to people who have watched the singer in these chat rooms, she has formed online friendships with people who are reportedly known to be alt-righters, racists, misogynistic men who treat women poorly, incels. People always coming up with these new terms and stuff. Videos of Doja Cat in these chats began to circulate and didn't take long for some of her old tweets to resurface where she allegedly made bigoted remarks. Doja leaving less than 600 tweets on her accounts. Here's an example of the stuff she posted before she deleted it. Let's see. She says, I hate those Arab people that work at gas station. Like, go back to the Middle East and blow up a car or something. Yeah, that's crazy. You shouldn't be saying dumb stuff like that. Oh, yeah, and there was this one song she made talking about a dindu, which apparently that's some racist term known for being anti-black, which is crazy because she's half black herself, I do believe. But you know, sometimes you have women, or I shouldn't say women, you have people that are usually multiracial and they find it hard for them to fit in with one group or the other. So usually what they do is they big up one part of themselves while not really bigging up the other part of themselves as well. So like she was in some room called Tea Time. She never once was proud of her blackness and oftentimes would say she wished she was white and how at least she's thick and light skinned. Oh, you know, these people be, you know, it's sad that people be doing stuff like this or they feel that type of way. So yeah, she said, didn't do nothing, which according to Urban Dictionary, it's a term used to mock blacks that commit crimes and excuses that's made for them, derived from welling family members, usually mentally unstable mothers. Yeah, she had. I saw some song that she was rapping about that, and I called a couple of people Fs when I was in high school in 2015. Does this mean that I don't deserve support? So this is basically her trying to. This isn't really an apology. Just as her trying to plead her case. I said F roughly like 15,000 times in my life. Does saying F mean you hate gay people? Do I hate gay people? I don't think I hate gay people. You don't think, or you do? When someone says I don't think, that usually means there's some type of hesitation or something there. It's either you do or you don't. I'm pretty sure her PR team or whatever is gonna probably trying to have her come out and put some BS apology out there to make people get off her case, but I got to page 35, so it's almost done. In summary, the OP said that Doja was in a tiny chat yesterday with white racist incels, and another font came in saying that the OP was just mad that Doja gave him her Skype, but never. After the back and forth, many concluded that the font question was Doja. Later on, there was a reveal of Doja's nose, lipo, and butt job, being into race play, trolling on Reddit, doing all kinds of weird things on tiny chat, like sticking a cucumber in her cutie cat and pushing it out. Then came a kitty pic out of nowhere, which got the thread moved to darker. Yeah, so she been wilding for a minute. So apparently this is a video of her in one of those rooms. I'm not going to play the video. If you guys want to see it, you can go on Hot New Hip Hop. There's an article talking about it or whatever. But so this Twitter person said, if y'all are listening, y'all would know that Doja was new to that whole site. Y'all are so effing strange. In one of the videos, the man says that Doja is a new member to this. So yeah, that confirmed those screenshots were fake. They also never said the N-word towards her, and it wasn't only white men in both chats. It was women and black men as well who were actually gentlemen to her. The only thing about it was them being weird, but that's because they are a bunch of gamers who probably live in their mom's basement. So she really got dragged up and down Twitter for literally no reason at all. This only showed people's true colors. It was people who didn't even like Doja for real hating on her. Well, no, she didn't get dragged up and down Twitter for nothing, because there's evidence of her engaging in things and saying things that she shouldn't be saying. You know, with that song and everything else. But, you know, at the end of the day, this isn't surprising. You know, this is what goes on or whatever. But moving on for that, apparently the NBA is trying to get back to action in late July. So they've been in talks with Disney about playing out their season at their sports complex in Florida. It's interesting, right? Like, all the sporting events is taking place in Florida. UFC doing their events in Florida. WWE is filming at their performance center in Florida. I think AEW is filming in Florida as well, so that's interesting. So the NBA has, well, Ramona Shelburne reports the NBA has entered into exploratory conversations with the Walt Disney Corporation about restarting the remainder of its season at Disney's ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex in Orlando, Florida in late July. NBA spokesperson Mike Bass said Thursday. Here's the full quote. The NBA, in conjunction with the NBA Players Association, is engaged in exploratory conversations with Walt Disney about restarting the 2019-20 season in late July at their complex as a single site for an NBA campus for games, practices, and housing. Bass said, "Our priority continues to be the health and safety of all involved, and we are working with public health experts and government officials on a comprehensive set of guidelines to ensure that appropriate medical protocols and protection are in place." I don't know, it could work, but having all those people cramped up into one area, I don't really know. Also in shenanigans, presidential candidate Joe Biden kind of put his foot in his mouth. He basically he went on, you know, the Breakfast Club to, you know, I guess give out his plea for people to vote for him. And at some point in the interview, he said, if you had to make a decision between voting for Trump or me, then you're not black, which that you shouldn't have said that. And it's like he's been saying and doing wild things over the course of his whole thing. So I think this is the clip right here.
Well, thank you so much. That's really our time. I apologize.
You can't do that to black media.
I can't do that to white media and black media because my wife has to go on at 6 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm in trouble.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
It don't have nothing to do with Trump. It has to do with the fact I want something for my community.
Exactly, and he shouldn't have said that dumbass shit. If you have a problem deciding between Trump or me, then you ain't for black or whatever. You shouldn't have said that, dude. Like, what is you doing? If you ask me, none of these candidates is worthy of my vote. I mean, because at the end of the day, you know, things are done. At the end of the day, things are done and decided way before these people even get into office. But that's a whole nother story. But Vice President spent his career fighting on the side for the African American. He won his party's nomination by earning every vote. But that blanket statement right there is another reason why Democrats feel so entitled, because they feel as though they automatically have the black vote. Both candidates in this instance, which would be, I guess, Biden and Trump, because I think those is the last two people that's still actually in the race, because I think the Democrats didn't settle on Biden being their representative, and of course the Republicans are probably going to vote for Trump to be put back into office. I think once they start having their primaries or whatever, if that even happens with what's going on, he's going to get annihilated because he's not really that good of a speaker. This whole week has been crazy, man. So much didn't happen in media. It's crazy, but that's pretty much going to do it for this week's podcast. Make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Those listening on Spotify as well as, you know, the other podcast platforms, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to see the visual version, that's on my YouTube channel. I also have an album out called Euphoria. That's on all platforms. So that's that. And until the next video, or should I say the next podcast, peace.